This meeting is now being recorded.
Good morning. Welcome to our first monthly Early Intervention Colorado TA call of the year. We have a few announcements and updates that we would like to go over, and then we're going to open up the conversation for you today. If you have questions that you would like us to address, go ahead and put them in the chat. This is Lenita Hartman, and we have the whole team here with us today to participate in the call. So welcome. We're going to go ahead and start with Beth Cole.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. We wanted to start out with really good news. We're giving you more money. I figure that'll make everybody happy. So we had carry forward funds from last year, and we have earmarked $660,000 of those carry forward funds to go back to the CCBs. 600,000 of that is going into service coordination, and then the 60,000 is to adjust the indirect costs. I utilized the updated AME numbers, and so unfortunately that resulted in some changes to some of the other line items. So when you get your contracts to sign, you'll see that there are some adjustments to the contract line items. But the changes were pretty minimal. It's really important that EI coordinators and fiscal staff review the amended numbers so that you know what you have to operate. And the sooner that the CCBs can get the amended contracts back to us, the faster we can get the funds out to you all. I know that our contracts unit, the early intervention, not early intervention, but the Office of Early Childhood Contracts Unit is in the process of getting all of the contracts sent out, the amended contracts sent out. So you should see them very soon if you haven't seen them already.
Thank you, Beth. So we are excited. We are in the process of hiring a new training specialist to join the Program Initiatives Unit. The position has closed, and we will be conducting interviews within the month. We did have over 120 applicants, so we are really thrilled with the applicant pool. Also, we want to let you know that Go For It Cohort 3 is underway. We held orientation for the last remaining 8 CCBs on January 4th, and they are embarking on their IFSP cost integration journey. So welcome to the club. We also wanted to let you know that the telehealth modules are in the process of being reviewed. So when those are up and ready to go, we will let you know. I'm going to turn it over to Ashley.
Happy New Year, everybody. It's Ashley Nuss here. So I just have a couple quick reminders. So there are 4 categories, 4 color-coordinated categories for the data cleanup for fiscal year 16-17. Second quarter data is going to be due by February 1st. So that's all data from October, November, and December. The reports are all located in the Early Intervention Data System, the Unicorn, in the fiscal year 16-17 indicator report folder. So each CCB should have received an email from me notifying them of which category they're in. Blue is the highest one, so this is CCBs that are getting minimal follow-up from me. Green is, again, they're getting quarterly follow-up from me on when data is due. Orange, they're getting monthly. And red is weekly. So once the second quarter data has wrapped up, CCBs can either stay in the same category based on how the data is going for fiscal year 16-17, or CCBs can move up a category. There are a few that are going to be moving up, or they can move down a category. So make sure that all data is entered timely by the end or by February 1st.
Thank you, Ashley. Okay, so I sent out a notification about an OAE training web course that is going to be occurring in February on the 6th, the 9th, the 13th, and the 16th. And we're really excited about these sessions because it really is the basic training on how to use an OAE and the practices that go along with that. And it's a hands-on skill development course. The requirement is that you have an OAE at your disposal and young children that you are able to practice with, and that you're committed to using the OAE hearing screening practices. So you can see on your screen the registration link. I also did send this out to you via email. And if you do not have an OAE and you need to purchase one, we will be supporting you in funding that purchase. So please contact Beth. And that is if you are planning on taking this OAE web course. So if you're committed to taking the course, we're going to commit to supporting you in purchasing the OAE. So that's exciting news, and I hope that everyone can participate in that who needs to. Okay, so we have some upcoming dates and reminders listed here on your screen. You can see that there are some office hours for service coordinators that are taking the bridge training, and those are scheduled regularly. We've got the CICC quarterly meeting at DDRC, which is open to anyone who's interested in coming. As Ashley said, your December data is due February 1. And your second quarter indicator data as well. Also, PEAK is having a conference on February 9th and 10th. The Rocky Mountain Early Childhood Conference is March 17th and 18th. And remember to save the date for 2 participants from your CCB for the EI Colorado statewide meeting. May 17th and 18th. We're working on finalizing that location. We do believe that it's going to be located in the mountains this year. So think about who you would like to attend and plan on sending at least 2 folks from your CCB. Okay, now we are going to open it up for questions from you. If you would like to put something in the chat, go ahead and do that. We do have a couple questions that were sent in prior to the call today that we are going to address. And the first question is really about specifically outreach to Children's Hospital and physicians sending families back from Children's Hospital with prescriptions for specific services such as OT, PT, or speech. And the question was related to what is EI Colorado doing to reach out to Children's Hospital to make sure that's not happening. And we did discuss that this morning, and we do believe that that is going to continue to be an issue. Doctors are always going to do that, but we have to remember that the work that we need to do is on our end, and that we're the experts in early intervention and need to bring families back to the primary provider model and how the 3 global outcomes are going to support their child's overall development in functional ways. That's why we're doing Go For It and integrating our practices, is that we're really looking at children holistically and that they're eligible for early intervention services. So that's really how we need to continue talking about it, continue to support your service coordinators, in having conversations with families about what early intervention is. Okay, so our second question I'm going to turn over to Amanda.
The second question was revolving around transitions as it's captured in Unicorn and transition reports, particularly around the ages 2-3 to 2-9, knowing that at age 2 year 9 months is the required activities for transition. I know there's been some confusion around, I think, last fiscal year's data cleanup, entering reasons late for any of the children that have transition activities or may not have them ages at the 2-3 to 2-9 mark. We do understand there's been confusion, and the system right now is not capturing that data as accurately as we would like. And there had been indications where you would have to enter a late reason if a child, let's say, completed an IFST prior to them exiting at 2-9. So as it is right now, Ashley and I are working on clarifying those reasons and making sure that we can either exclude or not have you enter a late reason. If the closed status, the reason that a child actually closes and exits EI prior to transition age of 2-9, we're trying to clarify that and enter that better in the system. So you'll be getting further information as we make those adjustments in the Unicorn. Are there any additional questions on that?
Okay. There is a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
there's a question in the chat about feeding units.
Wait.
Oh,
I'm sorry. There was a related question about transition, so I wanted to just keep that.
Yep.
So Jody had asked also for transition conference, is there a drop down for no conference when a parent declines a conference?
Yes. There is parent decline located in the late transition conference field.
Any other questions?
There was one from Rochelle up here.
So we have another question related to feeding and billing. Beth, can you read that one?
So how many feeding units can be billed by Medicaid per visit? Unfortunately, the code that you use for billing for feeding is what's called an untimed code, so you can only bill one. And with the lovely rate of like $12.64, it's very frustrating for providers who are providing feeding. My understanding is that there are some other codes that can be billed along with a feeding code. Unfortunately, the speech therapy code is not one of them. So a speech therapist having a session with a child and also doing some feeding needs to only bill one code. They can't bill both of those codes together.
Okay, thank you, Beth. And if you have follow-up questions to our responses, go ahead and enter them in the chat, and we will get to those. Okay, we have another question that Ashley is going to address.
Yep, so Rochelle up there has asked, what is the best client case closed status to select in the Unicorn when a family opts out of the Part B eval? So, and you guys can all chime in here if you disagree with me, but there is an exit status of Part B not determined. Yep, getting thumbs up. Silence is good. Okay. Okay, so then also another question from Michelle. Also, our CMS team is experiencing an issue with dates when closing a child. The close date reverts to the date that it is entered, which is not always the correlate date. Okay, this is not a known issue. No, that's not true. I have been made aware of this one, and we can look into why it is happening. We don't have a solution.
Okay, so we will check into that and get back to you on that one. We have another question from Sarah Brotherson that Beth is going to address.
Yeah, has there been any discussion about geographic modifiers for the 2017-2018 contract? And at this point, we are not going to use any geographic modifiers. But we are in discussions with the Alliance and OEC task force on what the allocation should look like for this next year coming up.
I don't think Ashley answered the all-important pizza party question.
Oh, there is a pizza party question. If they get all green, do they get a pizza party?
Yes. And everybody has to chip in $20 so we can
Check's payable to Ashley. I think she takes the little square PayPal thing.
Yes. I will even take pizza in payment for pizza.
So today, we really wanted to open this up to you because we have a lot of exciting things in the works. And when we were creating the call today, we realized, oh gosh, can we talk about this? Oh, not quite yet. Oh, we've got this other great thing happening. Can we talk about it? Oh, not quite yet. So the next few months are going to be filled with information and activities that are occurring. So stay tuned for that. We do have another question.
So this is a question about the health insurance authorization form and whether or not you can backdate to the beginning of the IFSP. And yes, you can backdate to the IFSP date because the parent has given you permission to access their insurance.
Great. Other questions?
Jody wants a geographic modifier about the cost of the pizza.
No, it's a flat rate.
And
sorry,
since we know
Jody.
that Jody's son works at a pizza parlor.
Oh, maybe Jody could hook us up with some pizza. I'll still take the $20.
Oh, they've lost audio.
Let's see. I'm going to unmute you for a moment to see if everyone's lost audio or just
All
one
guests have been unmuted.
We have audio.
Okay, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it may be, we're having some technical difficulties today, so we do apologize for that. Pat, you might want to try to sign back in. We should write that since you can't hear it. I'm going to mute you again.
Okay, so Jody,
All
you have a
guests have been muted.
question. You have a question about billing TCM. When a child is eligible, I'm assuming that's an established condition. When can you start billing TCM? In order to be able to bill TCM, two things have to be in place. The child has to be determined eligible for Medicaid and has to be determined eligible for early intervention. Once those two things have been confirmed, then you can begin billing for targeted case management.
There's a question from Moniqua. We are starting to explore the use of the offline IFSP. Yay, that's awesome. Are there any known issues or concerns about it not uploading correctly? So there are two known issues. Number one is that if you are trying to upload an IFSP that is more than 45 days after the initial referral date, the system will not allow you to do that. So we are working with the developers on trying to overwrite this because we want users to be able to go in and upload that offline IFSP for initial IFSPs regardless of when the meeting occurred. The other one is that if once you go ahead and save the HTML file, it's saving as a Word pad, and it actually needs to be saving as a notepad. So if you upload it, if you try to upload it, you get this little, it's not even an error message, it just looks like this little picture of the top half of your screen. If that is happening, what you need to do is you need to go to where the file is located, right-click on it, and go to the properties, and make sure that the file extension is a notepad.
Thank you, Ashley. Okay, so Rochelle has a follow-up with her first question about Part B eligibility.
Okay, also just to clarify our first question, Part B eligibility not determined is the best reason to use. Yes.
Okay, we have another question in the chat from Linda.
There's one from Rochelle.
Yeah, there's one from Michelle about CAPTA.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Linda is asking, we believe that the resolution for the boxes on the outcomes isn't correct. They never appear to print. It is always off unless you check the box. Also, global outcomes are not appearing from the older IFSPs. I would have to look into that one. I'm not aware of that. The resolution for boxes. I'll try to follow up with you, Linda, to get a little bit more clarification because I'm not exactly sure I understand what you're experiencing. As far as I know, that if it's checked on the outcome for you wanting it to print off, it should be printing, but it doesn't sound like that's the case.
And then for the second piece, Linda, where you said the global outcomes are not appearing from the older IFSCs, I might reach out to you offline. We did do a data migration or kind of a data upload for any of that known issue of the older IFSCs that had global outcomes entered. That should be corrected. So if you're still experiencing that, I'll follow up with you offline.
Okay, so we have a question related to when will the private button be working on IFSPs for captive families?
We currently do not have a time frame for when that will be working. Sorry.
As soon as we can.
Yeah. And there's a follow-up question to the TCM billing. Just to clarify TCM, we can bill categorical eligibility even if there is no IFSP in place yet. The IFSP has to be completed through the eligibility page in order to be able to bill for targeted case management. It may be that the family doesn't complete the IFSP, all of the parts of the IFSP, but at least up through the eligibility page needs to be completed on the IFSP to be able to bill for TCM.
Okay, and we have another example or another question here from Holly. Can you give examples on how we can support providers or offer incentives to providers to mentor an ECSC candidate?
We actually have funding available to providers to be a practicum supervisor, and we encourage CCBs to be those practicum supervisors, especially up around Greeley, because I continually hear from Greeley that they have difficulty finding supervisors for their ECSE students. And the more we can get providers to mentor ECSE students, the more likely they are to go into early intervention instead of just preschool. So if you have questions about that, contact me. We still have funds available.
Okay, so another question, is it possible to put all the important dates on the transition form instead of just the edit view?
Oops, is it possible to put all the important dates? Is it possible to put all the dates on the transition form instead of just the edit view? Are you talking about like the IFSP detail page when you edit it from there? If so, I can look into that. That is code in the system that is set up by our developers. And I don't have the access to that, but I will take a look at that and see if I can actually add all the important dates, and then also, because I'm guessing what you're referring to is the transition plan is missing from that edit view.
So if you have more about that, go ahead and put that in the chat and we'll follow up. Okay, so we have another question here. Our service coordinators have a unicorn suggestion. Instead of checking a box to have outcomes print if you do not want them to print. Also, the transition page, we would love to have a box there to include or not include on the print.
Yeah, okay, so real quickly, the transition page to print or not print, we have that in our test environment right now, so that one is something that we have requested, and that one, stay tuned, that one is going to be coming very soon. And then also a box to have the outcomes print if you do not want them. So you just want the language changed around.
Is what that sounds like. So for some of these things that are suggestions around the unicorn, it'd probably be great for people to email those directly to Ashley, because even though she has a remarkable brain, she might not keep all of this in her brain. So
that would be really helpful.
That would be helpful a lot. And so then we had a follow-up around the transition page. So yes, would like to put in the dates of plan, when done, and if opted out.
Okay, yeah, I can look into putting that stuff in there. Again, that is a little bit of coding on the back end. But I will take a peek at that and see if that can be done.
Okay, and then Monique had a follow-up around billing for TCM.
And yes, the parents have to sign the eligibility page before you can bill for TCM. And I want everyone to notice Sarah Johnson's post that they had an ECSE practicum student, and they hired her when she was done.
Woo! Sarah! Yay! So you might actually get professionals who have a clue about early intervention out of your practicum. So that's great. Okay, so we do see there's a question from Melinda and Sue that just says, how do you enter that in the unicorn?
I have a follow-up. 2 down.
2 down.
After Monique was.
Okay, that referring to eligibility page before IFSP is completed.
In order to bill for targeted case management, you don't have to have anything in the unicorn, except you have to have documentation that the child is eligible for early intervention, but the unicorn doesn't talk to the Medicaid system, and so Medicaid doesn't care if there's anything in the unicorn. I'm guessing that's what the question is about.
So it sounds like what you can do is just enter, you don't have to enter the eligibility page prior to the development of the IFSP, just have it on file.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, thanks. Okay.
Great question. You guys are asking a lot of really good questions this morning. Other questions out there? Nobody has asked Ashley's favorite pizza topping yet. I'm a little concerned.
Supreme.
We're hoping that you're all going to be in the green.
I really hope everybody's in the green. I'm sure you guys really look forward to hearing from me on a weekly, monthly basis, but
give you a few more minutes here to formulate any last questions you might have. And as I said, stay tuned. We'll have a lot of information for you in the next few months about exciting developments coming your way. Oh, you only want to hear from Ashley quarterly. Well,
all right. Now you're gonna hear from me daily.
Yeah. We know there have been some transitions at some CCBs. Please make sure that you let Tracy Sperry know if you have updates or changes to your contacts for your CCB or who should be listed on our website. You have the whole team here. Any questions you'd like to ask? This is your final call. Okay, well, we are going to wrap up today's call, and we want to thank you for joining us, and we apologize for any technical difficulties. This will be posted on the EI Colorado website, the PowerPoint and the recording as well. So if you missed either the visual or the audio, we will get that posted. And some of the questions that you have that are suggestions, you know where we are, and you can certainly send them our way. Thanks, and have a great afternoon.